Here we go. Here I have clay just about as big as my fist. I'm going to cut that in half, and I've got a knife right here. Cut that in half, and now I'm going to pound that together kind of to make it two even circles. And I really want the circles to be nice and smooth, and it will help to have some water with me. And I will create two pinch pots. I'll do the same thing here. And I can already tell they're not quite the same size. I'm taking a little bit of clay from here to there to make sure they're about the same size. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and stick my thumb. Oh, got kind of dry quickly. I'll add some water to this. And now I'm just going to move it around and around to create a nice pinch pot. And I'll have to kind of blend that together because that's not what I want. Okay, so now I have two pinch pots, and I'm making sure that I don't flatten them at all because we don't want flat pinch pots. And so now I want them to fit together. And you'll notice this one I have kind of already tapped and made it flat. This one I just need to do that still. And then I need to make sure they're about the same size so that when I put them on top of each other, they'll fit well together. This one's a little bit bigger, so this one I can just pinch these edges a little bit. And then these two should fit together a little bit better. This one I'm going to flatten that edge a little bit and see if that helps. And I think that is pretty good. So now what's really nice about this clay is usually with our other clay we have to score it, which means we have to use like a tool, but we can also make it like a fork to score it. But this we don't have to score it all. It will just stick together. So now you can see I've pushed them together as well as I can. I'm not pushing really hard because then of course I'm going to flatten my shape. So I've just pushed them together. They're nice and snug at this point. And now I'm very carefully blending those two parts together. And I'm doing this carefully so I don't end up with a peanut shape. If I end up having it look kind of like, you know, it kind of goes in and out again, then I have a trick for you guys how to fix that. But hopefully that doesn't happen. And I'll just end up with a nice kind of oval shape with my body for my bird. And so I'll go back around and smooth the whole thing out so you can't even tell anymore where the seam is of my knitting these two parts together. And I try not to add any clay to this because then it just becomes too heavy of an object. I kept the walls of my pinch pots pretty thick just so I can easily put them together. If they're too thin, it's hard to put together. But if the walls are too thick, then it's hard to get it to make a good sound. Alright, now I've knitted this together, and now I can kind of adjust this shape a little bit by tapping on it lightly. I notice here I still have a little part I need to take care of. And there's a couple of my fingerprints in there I want to smooth out. But overall, I'm happy with my shape. If it does end up with a peanut shape, like right here, if it kind of dents in and out again, then I can just roll it very carefully like this, and then that will flatten it. I don't know if you can see, but now it really kind of flattened that whole area. So I think that looks good. And then I can just kind of tap it lightly if I want to like change the shape around at all. But I'm pretty happy with this. Alright, so now I have the body of my ocarina. Now there's a couple of things I need to do. One thing I need to do is I need to make a flat edge, and I have this in my instructions right here. So this I started with. I made the two pinch pots. I now put them together carefully, and then this is the next thing. I'm going to kind of whack it on the table to create a flat edge, because then that's the edge that that fipple part is going to attach to. So I will show you what I mean by that. So I think I'm going to attach the fipple, oops, I guess you can't see it. I'm going to attach the fipple right here. So I'm going to kind of whack this side so I have a nice flat spot right there. So I'm going to take this. All right. Can you see that, how now I have a flat, if I hold it like this, you can see there's like a flat edge, like right about there. Okay, so I'll kind of lay it down like that. Now I'm going to grab some extra clay. I've got some extra clay right here, because now I need to create the fipple. And I have some extra clay right here too. I'm going to go make sure that I put the cover back on again, put my clay away. All right. And then I'm going to make a cylinder of clay right here. All right, that's pretty good. And I have to make sure that, you know, this will fit inside it. I can't make it too small because this is going to have to fit inside of it. All right, but this should work. So one side of this I'm going to cut straight, and the other side I'm going to cut at an angle. And I'll show you guys this way so you can see. One side's cut straight, one side's cut at an angle. And that angle is going to fit, oops, I hope you guys can see that right there. So that when I put these two together, I guess I can kind of do that right now. So when I put these together, whoops, this, oh my God, this is hard to see what I'm doing. All right, when I put these two together, this then becomes a straight line. I hope you guys can see that. All right, I think I'm going to get a little bit of water, and I might score that just the tiniest bit. Hang on. Okay, I have a fork, I have some water, so I'm going to put a little bit of water right here, and right here, and I'm going to use my fork, and I'll put the water away because that's not a pretty container, and I'm going to score this a little bit, and I'll score this a little bit as well, and then I can smooth it out later, the part that shows. All right, so I'm attaching my fipple right there because I really want that attached well. All right, and I can see it kind of indented there. I'm going to take a little bit of this extra clay. I've dipped it in a little bit of water, and I'm making a tiny worm with that clay. So here you can see, tiny worm, and I'm going to make that go around that. So I'm going to make it even thinner, lay it around there. See, right there and right there, and that will help me smooth those parts together. I'm getting a little bit of a dent there I'm not happy with, but not much I can do about that right now. We'll have to hide it with like the legs or the feet of the bird or something. All right, so here you go. I'm smoothing those parts together. Cleaning this up a little bit. All right, so now there's my flat spot right there. It goes straight from here to here. I could even flatten it out a little bit more if I want. So it's nice and flat. So now you can imagine this flat area that my popsicle stick, if it were inside, it's going to go straight here and then hopefully go under that layer of clay right there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my popsicle stick right through here, through the very middle there. Hope you can see this. See, so I'm sticking it right through there, so it's going to go right through here and hopefully end up just under the that layer of clay right there. So there you go. My popsicle stick stays in because now I'm going to need my knife and I'm going to cut a hole right in here. And this is super important. I'll try to hold it as close as I can. I'm going to cut a straight line right here, a straight line right here, and another straight line. And now this line is at an angle. So I don't know if you can see that, but this is going to be at an angle because that's where that sound is going to travel. And when I cut it, hopefully I'll feel that popsicle stick right there. Take all that clay out, because of course I need an opening right there. That's very important. Starting to get all that clay out of there. Okay, so I don't know if you can see in there, but you can see my popsicle stick in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold this tight and I'm going to take my popsicle stick out. And you'll see at the end of my, I don't know if you can see that inside this little hole, but you can see at the end of the popsicle stick, I'll push it back a little bit, there's a little bit of clay there. And I want to make sure that I get that clay off the end of the popsicle stick. And using the end of my knife works well, and also using that needle tool, or actually you guys have a skewer, that works well for that too, for taking that extra clay off the end of the popsicle stick. And then I can see the opening is a little bit, the passage is a little bit obstructed. And you want to make sure there's no clay obstructing that passage. That's super important. So let me push it back in again a little bit. Okay, because I want no clay in that passage because that's going to obstruct the sound. Okay, it's time for the test, you guys. Wow, that's pretty good. That's like the first time I did it this year, and it works. So once it makes a sound, leave it alone, because I'm just going to clean this edge up a little bit. But once it makes a sound, you don't want to mess with it too much. If it doesn't make a sound, you're going to go ahead, put that popsicle stick back in again, see if there's any obstructions. Like right now, when I did that, I pushed a little bit more clay out, so I'm going to make sure I get the clay off the end of that popsicle stick. Start over again. All right. Once it makes a sound, every time I'm going to test it by blowing into it again, so I'll do that. Then every time I do that and I mess with it some more, now the moisture from my throat can get into this passageway and it can loosen some of that clay. So sometimes if I do this too much, then the clay is going to obstruct it. But I'm fine, because right now it's got a sound, and I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to wrap this up, and then I can work more with it tomorrow.